Full disclosure, I 100% just intended on reviewing the show that is currently displayed on my t-shirt. I had planned it for weeks. I even wrote an entire script to the skits that I was going to plan with my best buddy Nick to make for this review. We were 100% ready. And then I came to the realization. I was going to review the third season of a show I never mentioned, and I was going to jump into talking about it as my first review of 2021 out of nowhere, talking about the third season of a show of a franchise that literally has three different sequels alone, including a remake / reboot. It just would have made no goddamn sense to do it. So after a lot of thinking, I decided I still 1000% want to review this show. It's practically one of my favorite shows. If I'm going to explore this show that has had everyone talking, it's pretty much gotten everyone through 2020 alone. If I'm going to talk about Cobra Kai, I gotta review the legend that started it all, The Karate Kid. Directed by John G. Avildsen, is the 1980s coming-of-age masterpiece that now 36 years later continues to inspire people and just get people really hyped up about karate and 80s music and just how fun the 80s were. I finally saw it again a few weeks ago with all my best pals on Discord, and though I've admittedly seen it pretty much throughout my entire life, finally watching it again pretty much 5 years later as a soon-to-be pretty much already a kind of official adult was still a very interesting experience. I watched it again after all these years, and here is what I thought about The Karate Kid. Now, it really shouldn't be a shocker to anyone, especially now all these years later, that The Karate Kid turned out to be the legendary film that it was. I mean, the director, John G. himself, had already been beloved for creating the Rocky movie, the same director behind Rocky. So sports stories aren't even anything that was necessarily new to him at that time when he made the film. As a matter of fact, through a lot of interviews, he pretty much confirmed that The Karate Kid was just pretty much the Rocky story, just with the coming-of-age twist, using a formula that he had already mastered in his past with the new coming-of-age teen story with it, and with a kid from California instead of a guy in Philadelphia. So I guess there's that too. But what truly makes The Karate Kid so special, even I'd say that makes it stand out even compared to its predecessor, Rocky, is that it's way more than just a sports movie. It's way more than just even a film with fun 80s music and classic 80s montages that have pretty much become cliches at this point ever since the movie came out. It truly is the definition of coming of age, and it's pretty much been almost the definition and the basic formula to every coming of age story that it's ever come since, aside from maybe the John Hughes films. Now looking back at the film, to see the themes that they were exploring of what Daniel LaRusso's character meant and what Miyagi to him was, and that mentorship and that father and son relationship of learning through life, the best of life and the worst of life, through the bullies and through the beauty of nature, and learning to master the art of karate, and learning that karate is not just, a really cool sport that can do kick-ass moves, but it could also even be a philosophy or religion of life and a way to get by and understand it. But the way it's told in such a beautiful and just awe-inspiring way, through the iconic scenes of Daniel LaRusso and Mr. Miyagi, from incredible performances from Ralph Macchio, and of course the legendary Pat Morita, may he rest in peace, and his incredible Yoda in human form like performance of this grand master. But as you even explore through the movie that I didn't even remember watching as a kid, who has this dark past of great grieving and suffering from his time when he served in World War II, and the incredible painful loss of his wife and his unborn child, to learn more of that this master wasn't just this wise old Yoda that just knew everything and understood the key to life, who also wrestled his own demons. It had his own darkness that he had to struggle and deal with, just like Daniel LaRusso did. Which it shows that even in life, you never can truly figure things out, and for people it can be handled in a few months or even a few decades. It's really a different journey for everyone, and The Karate Kid explores that geniusly. And those themes truly are still so important and still so necessary even today, and even more relevant than ever, especially if it's almost like this pandemic has made all these films and all these classic 80s films just so relevant again for the themes that they explored. It's almost like they were just waiting for their moment to shine. Though they've really always been incredible films by themselves, They were just, I never really think there could have been a better time, especially for young people like me, to go back and explore these films and see what they were trying to tell us and almost prepare us for. To see Daniel LaRusso be forced to go in an uncomfortable situation that he was not ready for, leave his hometown that he grew up in his whole life, and have to pretty much start all the way from scratch again, meet new people, understand his new life, understand this new strange town of Reseda, which, by the way, I also happen to live in, which made The Karate Kid even more of a relatable experience for me, and that's not a joke. Hackers, stalkers, this is your moment. It's stuff like that it's honestly insane to me that, once again, I've seen this film so many damn times in my life. I practically had this film on rewatch with all the other Karate Kids, even the goddamn Will Smith, or I guess Jaden Smith remake that came out a decade ago with my mom. And it's insane that watching it back again after all these years, thinking I've truly seen it and understood it all to its core, really shows how much I've grown up and how much there really is still to learn about life, even through film. I mean, I can really go more and more into this film, but really, to just make it quick, if you somehow still haven't seen The Karate Kid and need a good reason to watch it, it was a character study disguised in a summer blockbuster. I can't think of a better quote to use to describe The Karate Kid. An incredible character study, an incredible exploration of coming-of-age storytelling and sports storytelling disguised as a kick-ass karate summer blockbuster. Now, believe it or not, I actually don't give The Karate Kid a 10 out of 10. I know I think I've already said it, but I haven't at this point. It's pretty much one of my favorite films of all time, one of my favorite films of the decade, but despite being one of my favorites, doesn't mean I think it's one of the best. I mean, the director himself has admitted that The Karate Kid is pretty much just a retelling of the classic Rocky formula that he had already perfected before in Rocky, but with a coming-of-age twist. As still incredibly well as it's done, it's not necessarily the most original film. It was a classics retelling of the formula this friggin' guy made himself. It's another Rocky movie. An incredible Rocky movie, but another Rocky movie. If you've seen Rocky before, you've seen The Karate Kid. Just, it's not about a young kid from Reseda. So I guess there's some differences, but you get the point. There's just so much to watch this movie for that even the 9 out of 10 that I'm going to give it is still worth watching it for. And that's what I'm going to give it, a 9 out of 10. Every single part of this film has truly been made with nothing but love and focus. And it goes to show, almost 37 years later, and I'm still talking about The Karate Kid. And we had 4 sequels, a remake, and now 3 seasons of an incredible show on Netflix. Even with that, it's still such a legendary film that you just can't help but love. I can keep watching this film till I die. Guys, that was my review of The Karate Kid. It just wouldn't have felt right to review Cobra Kai Season 3 when I haven't even reviewed anything of this franchise. And if I was going to talk about the franchise, why not talk about the one that started it all? It's one of my favorite films of the 80s, of the decade itself, and hell, even one of my favorite films of all time. It's just always been such a crucial part of my life and really been something that's helped me get through so much that I just can't help but always think of it in such a nostalgic way. This film is just such an incredible experience that I hope any new viewer that's come around here, or even old viewer of this channel, who has never somehow seen the film, or even has seen the film before, can have the same experience I did and watch it in a new light and get something new out of it, especially in a time like this. I really hope it does, and I really hope y'all enjoyed this review once again. What was your favorite Karate Kid film of the franchise? Did you enjoy the Jaden Smith remake? If you really enjoyed Part 4, what the fuck is wrong with you? Either way, I really hope you guys enjoy this review. Stay safe out there. And as always, have a lovely day. See you guys.